Hey, what's up guys? My name is CollegeSportsREVIVED and I welcome you back to a different type of video. I will be filling out the 2024 March Madness bracket here and giving you guys my insight on who I think will win each and every game of the tournament field and who I think can win 6 in a row and win that national title in Phoenix, April 8th. Now, I know you guys are going to be asking where Fordham's at. Fordham is coming very soon, I promise you that. I'm still working on the latest video, and I also might get some questions on where my virtual March Madness tournament simulation on NBA 2K is. I don't think I'm going to be doing that this year. It's just too much work for one guy to do all that, and my job has just been so hectic. It's hard to get time to do a big project like that. So to try to make it up for you guys, I'm going to bring this video to you guys to show you my bracket. Let's get these picks started, and we'll start in the East region where the defending champions, obviously UConn, will beat Stetson. The Stetson Hatters, the winner of the Atlantic Sun, just no chance in that one. FAU versus Northwestern. This is one I've went back and forth on a lot throughout the course of making my bracket. I've had a lot of friends ask me for help with this one. Personally, I went with FAU just because of, the fact that they've been here before. They returned basically the same team, but then I remembered Northwestern has kind of been here before a lot recently too. Chris Collins, the brother of Doug Collins, has done a great job with the Wildcats recently. Boo Buie, their all-time leading scorer. It's going to be a dogfight. Lots of great guard play in this one, but I think I'll give the edge to the Final Four team just a season ago, FAU. San Diego State and UAB, I have the Aztecs in this one. They do lose a couple players from last year's team like Mark Mitchell, but Jaden Ledee has taken a major jump. I remember when he was a freshman on Ohio State like 5 years ago. I wish they could have retained him, but he's a beast. They have some nice wins this year, like over Gonzaga, and they were one of the better teams in a very good Mountain West this year. I don't know much about UAB other than the fact that they can score, and Eric Gaines is a really good passer, scorer, point guard, but I'm going to go with the Aztecs in that one. Auburn and Yale. Yale won on a last-second buzzer beater in the Ivy League championship, putting down the Cinderella story of, who was it? I don't know why it's slipping my mind who they beat, but Auburn, not only are they a analytic darling this year, their metrics are off the charts for a 4 seed. I just think they can get it done. Yale, I think with not having Cornell, I think Cornell's the best team in the Ivy League this year, and they got upset, so I think Auburn, just the talent's too much. Same thing with BYU against Duquesne. I don't know much about Duquesne as well. They kind of had a fluky run to the A10 championship. That's why they were able to have an automatic bid in this one. But BYU, awesome offense. I like them a lot. And speaking of offense, Illinois will use theirs to put down Morehead State pretty easily. Washington State and Drake, another game that I was back and forth with. I love Washington State this year. They came out of nowhere to have an awesome season. They have a top 30 defense that can limit even the best offenses in the country. And if you know Drake, they've been able to shoot the ball at a very high level, not only this year, but last year as well, whenever they were I believe, 12 seed last year and almost beat Miami in the first round, who ended up making the Final Four. So yeah, it's really interesting in this one. Miles Rice is a freshman point guard who's been off the charts this year. He's been one of the best stories of college basketball. I think I'm going to go Wazoo, but in a very close one. They just have the resume. They've beaten Arizona twice this year. Drake, man, I like their coach, DeVries, and then his son Tucker plays there. He's a 22-point per game scorer. But I'm going to go with Wazoo with the rebounding and the defense. I think they can grit that game out, because Drake also struggled last year against Miami's athleticism. I think Wazoo can have the same effect. And Iowa State, I love the way they sell out every possession. They play their hearts out every possession. And we're gonna go region to region in this one. So same thing with UConn against FAU. This one is gonna be closer than you think, because I think FAU can really compete with anybody in the East. But yeah, I just don't see a reality where UConn doesn't win at least 2 games. And in case you guys didn't know, this would be the first time since, I believe, 2016 where a repeat champion has made it past the round of 32. 2017 Villanova, round of 32. 18 UNC, 32. 2019 Villanova, round of 32. 2021 UVA, round of 64. 2022 Baylor, round of 32. 2023 Kansas, round of 32. Lost by a bucket against Arkansas last year. So some food for thought there, picking your brackets this year. Auburn against San Diego State. I'm a big Auburn guy this year. I'm not a Bruce Pearl guy. He had a lot of NCAA violations throughout his career. It's surprising that he's still coaching, but he is a good coach on the floor, and his team is awesome this year. They're so deep. They're so versatile. Yeah, I'm going Auburn in the Sweet 16. BYU and Illinois, two offenses that can, beat anybody. I'm going to give Illinois the nod. They're just too good right now. And Iowa State against Washington State. I'm going to go Iowa State in this one, although at one point I did have the Cougars pulling off an upset. I like to incorporate a little bit of that, where the 1 and 2, there's at least one seed and 1 2 seed that don't make it past the first weekend. You guys will have to see if I still have that or not. But here we go, a little bit of a chalk in this one. You got the 1-4, the 3 and the 2. This is where things taper off a little bit and differ. Auburn against Illinois. I like Auburn a lot, man. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but man, just their advanced stats are awesome. And they've blown out some really good teams in the SEC. Johnny Broome can mix it up with anybody in college basketball in the interior. And I don't know, man. I know just the athleticism of Auburn can hang with UConn's guards, unlike a lot of other teams in the field. And I know UConn is a buzzsaw right now. If there was ever a team that was going to break that stretch of teams repeating, trying to repeat that, not making it past the round of 32 and becoming repeat champions, it would be this UConn team. But I don't know. It's a tough choice. But Aiden Holloway can outmatch Cam Spencer in terms of shooting the ball. And yeah, I don't know. I just have a feeling about this one. This is going to be one of the best games of the tournament. I have a feeling if they can make this happen. Illinois with their superb offense and Iowa State with their lights out defense. It's going to be an incredible game, but I think Illinois will outlast them a little bit. I'm not always in favor of taking teams with one dominant scorer, which Illinois debatably has in Terrence Shannon. He's like I think he averages 23 on the year, and I'm not big on that. It seems like teams that spread out the attack do a lot better in March, but I think they can have enough juice to get to the Elite Eight, and it's not like he's the only guy. You know, they have Marcus Domask, who averages 16, and yeah, I'm a big fan of the Illini this year. Bruce Pearl, his boys all the way to the Elite Eight, facing Illinois, and I will go Auburn beating the Illini. So our first Final Four participant will be the Auburn Tigers. The only thing that worries me about Auburn beating them and taking them is UConn's going to be pretty much playing at home this entire run. They got Brooklyn for the first 2 rounds, the Barclays Center, and then they play in the Boston Garden against Auburn, potentially, the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. So they got the Barclays and Boston Garden. They travel well, man. UConn travels really well, and it's going to be basically like playing at home for them. It's about as close as you can get. So it's another factor on why I should probably take UConn, and I'm also a big Big East guy, but you know, it's not all that fun to always chalk up teams. So that's something to keep in mind for your bracket. But Auburn, I think they have enough firepower to get there on both sides of the ball. So we'll see who they'll play in the West as we move down to North Carolina's region. Obviously, they'll beat Wagner College in the first round. Mississippi State against Michigan State. It's hard to bet against Tom Izzo. I believe there's a stat where he's won like 65% of his games where he's the lower seed, and obviously Tom Izzo's played in, I believe, about 30 March Madnesses, so that's a pretty crazy stat. Hard to bet against him, and Mississippi State just too inconsistent. St. Mary's against Grand Canyon. I know this is going to be a trendy pick, but St. Mary's, they harass the hell out of you. They don't force themselves into mistakes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And Grand Canyon that's the reason everyone's picking them, is that they play a little bit of erratic ball, but I think St. Mary's will slow them down, and Grand Canyon turns the ball over a lot. I think that'll be the difference, because St. Mary's knows how to turn teams over and they know how to capitalize. They're just a really smart club. And they will face the Charleston Cougars in the round of 32. You want to talk about teams I love? Charleston, man. The last 2 times they were in March Madness, they almost beat, who was it last year that they almost beat in the first round? And I don't know why I can remember this, but they almost beat San Diego State, the Final Four Aztecs, last year in the first round. Honestly, I watched that game wire to wire, and I thought that they outplayed them, but they lost by, I believe, 6. And then the last time they were in the dance before last year, they played Auburn in the first round. They made the Final Four when they almost beat Virginia, and they lost by a bucket. So they've been very close these last couple times, and they played 10 deep. They're really versatile. I think that they can beat Alabama, and Alabama's lack of defense will come back and haunt them. Alabama might be a little bit overseeded in this one. Clemson and New Mexico. You got 2 NBA players' sons in Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn. And you also, in the interior, you also have Nelly Jr. Joseph, who is awesome. He is a big man who can limit any other big man in the country. And speaking of which, Clemson has an elite big man, PJ Hall, but I think just New Mexico matches up too well. I'm going with the Lobos. Baylor over Colgate, although Colgate, man, they give teams hard times every year. They lost Tucker Richardson last year, who I think was the Patriot League MVP of the season last year, but they still find themselves back. Keegan Records is their best player, a big man. I believe he wore number 14. He's got a man bun, hard to miss. Good player, good team, good program, but I think Baylor will sneak it out. Nevada will beat Dayton. I think Dayton is way overseeded, and I think it's insane that they have a 7th seed compared to some other teams. And Arizona will beat Long Beach State and atone for their first round loss last year. North Carolina gets by Tom Izzo, just not enough talent on Izzo's squad. And this one, man, is super tough as well. I know I'm not going to make many friends with this one, but Charleston, they're going to be my Cinderella story, and the team I'll be backing a little bit in this one. Same thing goes with the Lobos. If you want to see great guard play, you got to tune in for this game right here. This is going to be absolutely insane. 2 elite guards for UNM. The 26-win Lobos with Jalen House and Mashburn versus Jacoby Walter, who is taking college basketball by storm. But, you know, just their offensive momentum has been carrying over for the most part, but I don't know. I think New Mexico can outshoot them and beat them. Arizona beating Nevada in this one as well, so it'll be a 1-13 and a 2-11. So I think North Carolina will end Charleston in an all North Carolina round, or a Sweet 16 right there. That'll be a lot of fun. Just too much talent, and yeah, so UNC will be an Elite 8 squad in Armando Bacot's last season of college hoops, and Arizona against UNM. I think this one's going to be close, but Arizona to the Elite 8, and we'll face UNC in the regional final. And you know what? With the Final Four taking place in Arizona this year, I think the Wildcats will have enough juice in the tank to get it done, and they will face Auburn in the Final Four. Houston will beat Longwood and will face Nebraska in the second round. This one's tough. I had Texas A&M being a lot better of a team this year, but they really only have 2 elite guards, Tyrese Radford and Wade Taylor. Radford's a beast, lefty, really tough to guard, but Nebraska's just a more complete team. They're shooting the ball lights out right now. So we have Wisconsin and Duke, I think, will both move on as well. I know, once again, James Madison, a trendy upset pick. JP Biggerstaff's the coach of the Cavs. His son plays for that team, a really good player, but I just think it's too easy of an upset. I feel like sometimes when these 12 or 13 seeds get a little bit of backing from the common consensus, I just feel like sometimes it's too easy of a pick and they don't always perform. So I think Wisconsin will get by them. They're playing good ball right now. Just barely lost to Illinois in a really good game in the Big Ten title game. Speaking of title games, NC State with my man Burns in the middle. I just can't take them though. I think they're going to be too drained, and Texas Tech is really good this year. I feel like they're being undervalued by a lot of the common picks. I love their 3-guard backcourt: Pop Isaacs, Joe Toussaint, and Chase McMillan. I think they're awesome. Kentucky against Oakland, man. So Calipari, normally, such a good defensive team, normally with him. But they've sacrificed that. They've interchanged defense for offense a little bit this year. And It's really interesting to see how Calipari's team is going to play this year. They got so much talent, man. Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepherd has been way better than anybody's expected and has played himself into potentially being a lottery pick. Yeah, so I could go on and on about the talent, and they're finally fully healthy as well. Oakland, though, has the longest tenured coach in Division I. Their coach has been there for 40 years. Really good X's and O's guy. Kentucky will sneak it out, but I don't think Oakland will get blown out either. I think this could be a 7-8 point win where it comes down to the free throws for Kentucky. Colorado will beat Florida. I think whoever was going to win that playing game last night was going to beat the Gators, and Marquette will move on as well. I just don't see Florida making out of the first round after losing their big man in the SEC championship game. They got blown out in that game as well. So yeah, so not a Gator guy myself this year. Houston will beat Nebraska. Just too much talent for them to overcome. Although Fred Hoiberg has really turned that ship around for Nebraska. They're on the come up. And Duke and Wisconsin. Another game I went back and forth on. This is going to be one of the tougher games to pick in the entire bracket, in my opinion. Duke just has trouble defending the three-point line too much. They have some signs of fatigue, in my opinion. Whenever I see them, they didn't do so well in the ACC tournament, lost 2 in a row, and they are not deep at all. I think they only go 6-7 deep. So I don't know, man. Whenever they go cold, which happens a good amount, they just can't get it done, I don't think. Oh man, this region is super tough, because once again, the backcourt of Texas Tech has enough talent to stick with Kentucky, but I think the talent pool is just a little bit too deep. So Kentucky will pull that one off in a close one. I've also been a Marquette guy all year round. I love Shaka Smart. If you guys remember my Road to 2K series, way back when, I played for Shaka Smart back when he was at Texas, won a title with him in virtual college basketball. So yeah, man, I've always been a Shaka Smart guy, even before that series. Houston, Wisconsin. Yep, I think Houston's going to continue to cruise in this one. They worry me a little bit because they haven't looked as sharp when they're away from home, and that includes neutral site games as well. But just an awesome team. I think Ralph Sampson's due for a really deep run. I feel really off picking Kentucky here just because Tyler Kolek is back for Marquette, but the 3 seeds are just so good this year. This is the best 3 line I can remember in my time of watching college hoops. It's tough, man. It's really tough. Kentucky and Marquette, gotta make a choice. They have the lowest floor in this season's college basketball field, but they also have the highest ceiling. Give me Kentucky. I hate to do it. I really hate to do it, but I think they're gonna man, that's tough, but I think they're gonna get that done. And then Houston, Kentucky, I think Houston has enough athleticism to stifle them on the perimeter. They're probably the best rebounding team in the field, and arguably the best defensive team in the field as well. So give me Houston in that one. So we have 3 Final Four participants: Auburn, Arizona, and Houston. Let's finish with the Midwest. Purdue will beat Grambling State. That was a really good 16 seed battle last night. Grambling pulled it out though at the end thanks to a big second half comeback. Utah State and TCU. This one's another one I went back and forth on. Jameer Nelson's kid. He plays for TCU, a Delaware transfer. He's been really awesome this year to watch. TCU always has their guards ready to go. Mike Miles, unfortunately, is not on the team anymore, but he was awesome last year. But Utah State, I went back and forth on this one a lot as well. Give me Utah State in this one. And maybe this is one I'm just trying to speak into existence because I've had TCU pretty much the entire time since the bracket came out. But for a certain reason, I'm sure you guys are putting 2 and 2 together, I will I will put Utah State here, and I think you might have a reason, or you guys might know why I'm putting Utah State here over TCU and changing my mind here at the last minute. Gonzaga and McNeese State, another upset I just think is a little bit too common. I know McNeese is everyone's darling this year, and I feel a little bit weird not having a 12 winning. I just realized that I have that. I don't know about that. Oh boy, that's not good that I don't have a 12 advancing. That's something that is pretty much a formality in March Madness this year. So the ESPN fact says that at least one 12 seed has defeated a 5 seed in 32 of 38 tournaments. 3 of 6 times 12 seeds failed to win a first round game have occurred in the past 8 tourneys though. So it's not common for a 112 seed to not advance, but it has happened recently a decent amount. So give me Mark Few, man. It's hard to bet against him, and he always at least makes the Sweet 16 no matter the seed. Gonzaga's down this year, but they're not that down. Give me the Zags. And Samford against Kansas. This is either going to make me the smartest man in the room or dumbest man in the room. I'm going with the Samford Bulldogs. They play buckyball, named after their coach. 10, 11 guys deep. Achor is their best player, 16 points a game. And Kevin McCullough is out for the entire tournament. Their top scorer on the season, Kansas, that is. Yeah, man. Buckyball, up-tempo system. You got 10 players who average at least 12 minutes a game. They average 86 a game, 10 3-pointers per game, and at least 40% beyond the arc. They also can force turnovers at a high rate as well. I just think there's too many factors in this one pointing for Samford. And you know what's pretty funny? In the UT Martin legacy mode back in College Hoops 2K8, we played Samford a lot. They were a really good team in our Ohio Valley Conference, and they were the exact opposite. They were a bully ball team that grinded you down. I remember they would almost always hold us under 50 points. So they were an elite defensive squad and played at a snail's pace. So for them to make March Madness in real life and be pretty much the exact inverse in real life is just really funny to me. Moving on though, Oregon beats South Carolina. Michi Johnson, I'm a big fan of. He was an Ohio State guard. He was an early enrollee. He was 17 whenever he was a freshman there. I think he came to college ball just a year too early, but he has blossomed in South Carolina. They began the year like winning like 16 of 17 or something crazy like that, but they've tapered off. They've cooled off. The SEC is really tough, and Oregon is playing really good ball right now. Dana Altman always has his guys ready to play, so I think Oregon will take advantage of South Carolina coming back down to earth. Creighton will beat Akron. Not much to say about that one. Texas and Tennessee will move on as well. So that means I have 2 10 seeds and 2 7 seeds. It's really hard to know what Texas team you're going to get night to night. Max Abmas is there now. For some reason, I just can't put a finger on it, why they just are so inconsistent. And that's probably why they won't make it far. But I think they have enough talent to beat Isaiah Stevens, the all-time leading scorer for the Colorado State Rams, and make it on to the next round. Purdue against Utah State. You know, I think you guys put 2 and 2 together at this point. I think Utah State will get it done, and Purdue will again fail in March. Once again, I know Lance Jones is there now. He's blossomed, and Braden Smith is the one that's taken the big jump. I think Purdue is the best they've been since they lost to St. Peter's 3 years ago. I like to have at least one seed not making it past the round of 32 each year. Either that or a 2 seed, which I think the 2 seeds are just have too good of draws to have that happen. So I think this could happen. I think whether TCU or Utah State makes it out of the first round, they can definitely beat Purdue. I know a lot of people are going to be picking this after their failure last season and these guys being under the microscope a little bit, but Zach Edey would be going up against Great Osabor, who is the big man for Utah State, who I think can match up. He's obviously doesn't have the size like Zach Edey does, but I think Utah State has the athleticism on the perimeter. That's how they got beat last year by FDU. And then in this game, Gonzaga will face Utah State, as Samford will not have enough. It's hard to bet against Mark Few. I hate that being my only my only reason to pick them, but yeah, Mark Few can get them to the Sweet 16. I don't think they've missed the Sweet 16 under him in I forget how many years it's been, but it's been a long time. And they're really balanced. They have Graham Ike and Anton Watson in the middle, and they have good guard play as well. Ryan Nebhard is starting to pass the ball really well. He's got 10 plus assists in 3 straight games. Gonzaga's playing the best basketball they have all year, even with the loss to St. Mary's. That doesn't bother me too much. So Creighton will get by Oregon. They're just too talented and a little bit underseeded, if you ask me. And Tennessee, You know, Texas has the talent to beat anybody in the field, but with Dalton Knecht just playing so well, give me Tennessee. Gonzaga will end Utah State's run of terror, and then Creighton, one of the most talented teams in the field. Yeah, give me Creighton to make not only the Elite Eight, but the Final Four as well. So here's my Final Four: Auburn and Arizona, Houston and Creighton. 1, 2, 3, and 4 as our seeding. And I'm going to go Arizona beating Auburn with the backing of the home crowd, playing in the home state. And Houston, I think, will also take care of Creighton as well. So my national title game is Houston versus Arizona. And I know Arizona's playing in their home state, but Houston, I think, will have plenty of backing as well. Yeah, I think this is about time that they get it done, because Ralph Sampson is an excellent coach. Everywhere he's gone, he's won, and I think they have enough to get it done this year and win 6 in a row. Houston is my national championship pick this year. Their first year in the Big 12 had some ups and downs. I know people are going to point to that Iowa State thrashing a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, in the Big Ten championship, and how Iowa State took 2 out of 3 against them. But I just don't think there's a team like Iowa State that'll face them. But hopefully you guys still enjoy this video, and we'll see. It's gonna be interesting to look back and take a look at my bracket and probably laugh at how bad it is a year from now. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys needed any help picking some teams, I hope this helped you out. And yeah, so stay tuned for more here on College Sports Revived. I'm signing out. Enjoy the tournament game in this one. I'll just put like 150 or put 145 from total points. That's a happy medium. And I'm going to have some Fordham coming soon, so stay tuned for that. We're in the March Madness bracket right now in our game, so stay on the lookout for that. I'm College Sports Revived, and I'm signing out. Peace, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed.